All right, we're back with round number 2 finally. It was pretty lengthy. Round number 1, we had a couple matches go at a time, but we'll be getting started right away. This round, I'm joined with Robert Brinker.
Hello. You saw me get my ass kicked last round.
Yeah, against Reed, but who's not on the feature match now. We're gonna get a couple new faces on with Kai and Caleb.
I don't know if I played against Caleb and I played on Saturday while I had the buy in the game day. I don't know if he's on the Fury version of the deck though, because I kind of just annihilated him in 2 games. But I think Kai is. Do you think what are your thoughts on whether or not Fury will be useful
in this cursed mirror?
Oh yes, in this cursed mirror.
I think Fury's pretty good. It can be good game 1 if Kai doesn't know to play around it. Then Caleb can like pitch it on turn 2 with counterspell backup and try to 2 for 1.
I can tell you for certain that if Caleb is running it is not main.
Okay, it would be in the sideboard.
Yeah. Because the first of the 2 games we played, he saw like half of his deck and made no comment of Fury being anywhere in the deck. So,
sure. So sideboard it is then. I guess Kai is fixing up one of their decks. I'm not too sure.
Yeah. What is going on here? Because that Simian Spirit Guide is definitely not modern legal.
From show and tell. We might be getting
Fluster's
sideboard card in round 2.
So
Kai did get the buy round.
Yes, and that was coming out of Najila, his CEDH deck. Yeah. Kai had the buy round 1, so I think what happened there is Kai doesn't own enough copies of Flusterstorm,
right?
So moves them between CEDH and Modern, and forgot to do that during all of their buy during 1.
Yeah, which I guess is reasonable enough. I mean, when you get the buy, you kind of zone out for an hour, you know.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot to do other than watch matches, so it kind of makes sense. But I don't think we're seeing any malintent here. No. Flusterstorm's not amazing in the matchup either, so I'm not even sure that comes in.
Yeah, and like he literally tossed it down on his playmat face up, so he's in exchange for making this quick, I would assume correction. He's giving his opponent some free information about sideboard, as he just stuck it straight into his sideboard.
Right.
So I don't think his opponent's gonna be minded one way or another here at this FNM.
Yeah. No, I think even if this was a larger tournament with actual rule enforcing, I'm pretty sure if you have the card on your deck list and it's just not presently in that box, but it's still on you, you would be allowed to put it back in.
Yes, that is in fact correct. I mean, your opponent would likely call a judge over to have them like deck check you.
Right. But I think it'd be a little softer too if the player in question just called the judge on themselves.
Yeah, that as well. Although as far as I remember, the penalty is if you're able to immediately, if within the first 5 minutes of the round you're able to locate that would be a deck construction issue, and generally the way you fix that is if you're able to get the correct card in the first 5 minutes of the round. I think it's just a 1, because they've been moving a lot more heavily towards de-escalation and giving people the penalties and stuff, and giving people the benefit of the doubt. Right. I know if it goes too far into the round, you do get at least a game loss, and much beyond that, it's obviously a match loss. But I think all it would be is if in the first 5 minutes is a warning anyway. So if that's in your bag, it would definitely be a non-issue.
Yeah, I don't think it would be a big deal. Well, looks like our players are getting all shuffled up here, and we're playing rock paper scissors to determine the winner of the die roll.
I can't tell who won, but I'm sure we'll figure it out.
Right? So paper tiger beats rock lobster.
Yeah.
So Kai will be on the play here.
Okay.
Which I think is pretty big in the mirror. Just being able to cast Expressive Iteration first leads to being able to cast Murktide first.
Yeah.
And I think he even skipped a step, being able to play Ragavan or DRC first.
Yeah, although I don't know. I assume Kai is on the version that's running some quantity of Spell Pierce in the main deck. I know for a fact that Caleb is, as that is the other day he did tell me that was in his deck.
Yeah, it's been kind of a mainstay for the Murktide decks. I feel like I've seen at least one copy in most everyone's list. Main deck for Murktide.
Yeah, so even if Kai is the first to cast the iteration, Caleb might be able to respond and counter it while still having developed his own board on one.
That'd be pretty nice.
Yeah, well, look, and there's that turn one Ragavan on the play. I just put a die out. It looks like to indicate turns and phases and stuff.
Maybe.
Or for treasure tokens, possibly.
Well, Ragavan might have a chance to hit here. Feel like Kai is really notorious for keeping land light hands.
Yeah.
So I think we're gonna see Steam Vents and then consider.
Ooh.
No, Steam Vents at the bottom, so maybe we have a second land already. And then if we have an Unholy Heat to kill the DRC, that'd be pretty sick.
Yeah. Do you maybe fire in the Ragavan and just hope he's not going to block?
Looks like that's what Kai's gonna do.
Okay, yeah, all right.
Yeah, I think we take that trade for Caleb. It gets a creature in the graveyard for both of the types too.
Yeah. I'm gonna go get them both to swap the sides. They're graveyards.
Oh yeah, there's a little glare heavy. Alright, so Caleb did have a backup DRC. I think that's a big reason to play, or to make the play he did with the block on the Ragavan to trade. Players situating their graveyards over on the other side of the board, so that it's a little less glary.
Yeah, since this happens to be a matchup where graveyard information is relevant, especially relevant for both players, I figured might be a good idea to to make sure we can actually see what's going on.
Yeah, I know. Fluffy and I were talking about making a delirium button too, to showcase when people are delirious.
That's probably not a terrible idea.
Yeah, and if the party mechanic ever comes up too, we could double for that.
Oh yeah, well, just like just an information banner in general to go like X person has whatever.
Right.
Your stream here. I just realized I forgot to pull it up.
Well, good. So I'm pretty sure Kai has delirium as long as a land can enter the graveyard, but triple Spiral of Canal is not going to allow that.
Yeah.
But Caleb did have the backup DRC we saw.
Oh yes.
So that makes the block he made on the Ragavan look way better, because now it is the creature in yard.
Yeah.
And just a backup one, and we see the black-red staple of delirium, which I think is to indicate that Kai has delirium.
I would assume so. It does appear that way, because it does no. What's the?
We don't know the
glare on that one card. Yeah, it's a
so sorcery instant creature. So delirium is not active for either player yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, one land will change that though. So almost any. There's a lot of hits even off of the surveil trigger off of the DRC too, even if it's not a fetch land.
Yeah.
But for Caleb, it'll be a Ledger Shredder plus Consider, which could get delirium here as there's two triggers going on the stack. We're going to surveil first, putting land in.
One more card type and he's got it.
So I didn't. Well, neither of us in the booth here are playing, but one way or another, Murktide will be winning this game.
There's a land off the connive, so
no counter, vulnerable to bolts, and no delirium yet. But Caleb will come.
What spell did he cast to trigger the connive?
Consider.
Okay.
That was the second spell.
Yeah. So he just, I guess, decided he wanted to keep the card off of the Darcy. I'm confused.
I'm pretty sure he milled the first card.
Okay.
It was a land.
And then he just forgot to resolve his Consider.
No. It was
I think so. I think he forgot to finish resolving his Consider.
It's possible.
Because he just put a card in the bin from his hand and then didn't go back to the top of his deck to look for more cards, which he should have been doing if he was finishing resolving his Consider.
Maybe he just immediately drew it?
I mean, maybe he did and I missed it?
Yeah, I was kind of looking at chat. So
it looks like he got caught there. Yeah. Oh, no, that's the connive off the thing, which makes it too large.
Wow.
Yeah.
Kai kind of not playing around
The connive, yeah.
at all. Just you can really just cast Bolt first.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like he did dash the DRC or the Ragavan. I mean, so Caleb can't block if he wants to keep the
It's something,
Shredder
sure.
around.
You get a confirmed Ragavan hit, I guess.
Yeah,
You get confirmed both hits because now there's a land in, so the DRC is delirious. So I guess it's not the worst case scenario.
yeah. I mean, I don't think you would.
Get a free bauble.
Yeah. Well, I don't.
Well, you actually should not crack that.
Yeah. I think if you're Caleb, well, so Caleb already has delirium. He just got it off of binning that instant with the Ledger Shredder.
Does he have a sorcery?
Yes. I think. I thought. I thought I saw a sorcery in there because I thought that's what
I don't believe so. It's just creature land instant.
Oh, you're right. That
So
gets him.
now he
That's
does have
delirium.
delirium. Yeah,
Yes.
I would have just
Okay.
kept that bubble
yeah,
in play.
yeah, I think that's
Taking
probably
the
true.
surveil trigger.
Yeah. Also, I think even if Kai didn't have delirium, Caleb wasn't gonna block anyway, because the Ledger Shredder had 3 damage marked on it. It was only at 4 toughness, so he would have had to trade it for the DRC, even if regardless in the situation. I think that Ledger Shredder in the long run is going to be more valuable,
Oh, 100%.
preventing however much damage from the DRC. So
Yeah, Ledger Shredder just after one connive trigger being bigger than Bolt is pretty huge.
yeah.
But it kind of just like knowledge checks your opponent of like how to play around it. It is a new ability, so it's
Yeah.
I think it'll take it some time, but Ledger Shredder might see.
Yeah. I mean, so another thing about that is like Kai knows that Caleb binned a land off of the first connive that he got, so he didn't. He either has cards in his hand he doesn't want to give up because he finds them to be too valuable, or only has lands in hand. And he sorry, I want to see if Caleb remembers to actually resolve his consider this time, because like I said, I don't think he did last time. Okay, discards that. Okay, and just straight draws the card. Doesn't I guess you forgot to do that surveil there on the consider.
Yeah, I guess it's just getting to,
Yeah,
but
weird.
it's fine, I guess.
Yeah.
that is a appropriate game action.
Yeah, maybe that is what happened last time and I just missed it.
I think it might be.
Also, that Ledger Shredder needs a counter on it because he discarded
Counterspell, right?
counterspell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can just, you don't have to, we can just message Fluffer.
Oh, you can just message Fluffy. But Kai might have thought that Caleb either had things he didn't want to get rid of to that first connive, or that he only had lands in hand, so he wouldn't be able to pay for the he wouldn't be able to increase the toughness on, or would be unlikely to increase the toughness on Ledger Shredder. So I don't. There's probably some degree of logic there on the on going for the bolt on the Ledger Shredder. Your opponent might not want to make it larger, or might not be able to make it larger,
Right.
potentially.
That was from DRC Surveil. So he just didn't resolve the Shredder trigger?
Oh no! Consider was the only card. Consider was the only card cast that turn.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I did think there were 2 spells cast that turn too for some reason. But yeah, Caleb only has 1 land tapped, so unless it was a bubble, which it was not, there were no other spells cast.
Yeah. And Kai has the main deck Furies and has Furied Caleb's Shredder there.
Yeah, it's coming up this time. It's a good way to deal with Shredder if it's not too late into the game, or if he's missed some number of triggers. Not missed, but not discarded a non-land.
It looks like Kai pitch cast that.
So there has to be a counterspell in hand.
Yeah, because he has the 5 mana. So he has to. It looks like he pitched
like
cast that, but I don't see the card. Oh, it's
a glare. I feel like the hard cast, it's kind of bad because it just dies to bolt, but like you make them have it.
Yeah, and then like if he doesn't have counterspell here for the Murktide, it's gonna feel. I mean, I think just in general, looks like he has the
I mean,
counterspell.
Caleb has 1 or 2 cards in hand and 2 blue mana up, so I feel like he
Yeah.
should wait until he had a counterspell in hand to play the Smirktide.
Yeah, like it's obviously a big deal.
Yeah.
I don't think you would expect your opponent to not have protection for the Murktide.
Maybe Kai has something like Spell Pierce in hand,
Or an
Archmage's
Archmage's Charm. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
So Surveil Trigger. That'll stay on top. Counterspell will
It
be
looks like
countered.
both have elected to keep their whatever their card is on top.
So no Murktide for Caleb, and a nice exchange of resources there, though. Okay, well now untap with the Delirious DRC, and Caleb is at 8. So
Yeah, and it looks like Caleb actually removed Delirium from himself in the process there.
maybe a small blunder there.
I don't know. I think if I'm him, I want to be able to somehow instantaneously get Delirium. I don't know if his deck can
Well,
do
no,
that.
he's Delirium. He has,
Also,
he has
he
land,
does
artifact,
have
instant creature.
Delirium. Yeah, so that
Yeah.
Darcy should have attacked.
Yeah.
Unless he did it
I think it
after
was.
combat.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. If
Because the turn just ended after that.
yeah. But he had Delirium before that also, so there's no point which that Darcy shouldn't have attacked.
He might have led on an attack. I feel like it was tapped.
Confused. Oh well.
And he didn't block Kai's DRC either.
Yeah, so he might not realize he has Delirium. That might be the problem.
Yeah.
If we pass to Kai's turn here again without a
Right. Yeah. Then we'll
yeah.
say something. Because he is creature, land, instant, artifact.
Yeah. Yes.
Hi, stop. Hi, stop. And so we were just making sure our players are aware of Delirium. So Delirium is active, and this DRC will have to attack. Not the worst thing, but now Caleb is dead to a bolt or a dashed Ragavan. If Caleb doesn't have a bolt of his own, and Kai will get to iteration here. So kind of a big deal that the DRC did have to attack there, as it cannot block the DRC this turn. Kai finding a counter spell is probably just what you want to keep in hand.
Yeah, it looks like there's a counterspell and a consider. Maybe it was the other card. One of the other cards. I
Yeah, I
wasn't
think,
sure. There's
Murktide is the other card. Yeah.
Murktide. All right.
Got a little peek at that one.
Oh, and a consider as well. I was correct. He's putting Murktide in his hand for some reason. I would
would want the counter spell.
Yeah, I would be putting the Murktide in exile and the counterspell in. Why did he just pick up the consider?
It's just like, no, yeah. It's
Or yeah,
it's fine.
Yeah, right.
We all know what's going on. It a little weird looking, but that was the card. If Caleb does have a dispute of this, we did see that there was a,
it is obviously the exact same.
yeah.
And it came out of the yeah. I think they're having a conversation about that right now.
Caleb should be aware that he could just ask us because he is in feature match and we are recording. So
yeah,
we did confirm that happened.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think if I'm Kai, I put the Murktide in exile and then like slam that and just have a counter
Oh,
spell.
did we just find Ragavan? No, we're just playing Murktide here with no backup. I guess that's fine. Caleb will
Yeah, well, I guess he would have only had the 1 mana of protection anyway, so unless he had Spell Pierce, I guess
it would have already been.
It would have been
cast,
unguarded anyway, yeah, and I'm talking about Kai if he had Spell Pierce.
Oh, sure.
And also because Spell Pierce doesn't. Well, I guess it hits the whatchamacallit, but it doesn't. I don't know that you'd Spell Pierce to consider.
Probably not.
But since he wasn't able to protect it. But I don't know. That's just weird. Unless he had Spell Pierce in hand, but like Caleb has enough mana that he could pay for a Spell Pierce, so maybe Kai just was like not Yeah, I don't know. I can't figure out why this counterspell went to the bottom.
Yeah, I mean it is Kai. Not the most technical player, but not the worst Murkside player in the room. I will say.
Yeah.
Kai's been playing the deck for quite some time now, and his prowess will show getting game one here on the play. So a pretty good spot for the rest of the match. Winning game one means you have one chance to win on the draw, and then another chance on the play, which is pretty large in this matchup. And we'll see. I'm not sure if anyone's on unlicensed Hearse, but that is a very strong card in the mirror. I can only imagine even being able to target yourself, I believe, so you can grow your own Murktide.
Two cards from any one graveyard. They have to be in the same graveyard, but it can be anyone's graveyard. So yes, indeed, you can in fact hit yourself. That's part of the reason it's seeing play in. I don't know about the main deck, but definitely the sideboard in Legacy Delver, because you can just in the mirror you can make it harder for your opponent to. You can just suddenly remove Delirium from your opponent's Darcy's, make it harder for them to be able to have large Murktides. And also grow your own, and it's crew 2, I think.
It is, yep.
So just any 2 Delvers or even Undelirious Darcys lying around can crew that thing. Or if you, even a singular Delirious Darcy, if you don't want to have to run it into your opponent's Murktide or opposing Darcys or Delvers, if you're trying to keep the selection around for it, which is not a terrible thing to do.
Sure.
And also there's always the, you can crew multiple times, so if you don't want to attack with any of your Darcys, you can just be like, all right, all 4 or all however many of my Darcys are going to crew it. So that way they're all tapped, even though they're delirious.
I think you can just over crew, right?
Yes, you can also over crew. Yes. So arguably the better thing to do is to crew it. There's like not weird. There are like a couple probably irrelevant but small edge cases where it's like there are cards that specifically interact with non-creature permanents.
Oh, sure.
That do at least on occasion see play in certain decks in Legacy. So like crewing it one at a time, or at least up until it's like getting like crew once, and then if your opponent tries to like destroy it with something that cares about interacting with specifically non-creatures, being able to crew it again is a non-zero value.
Yep.
It's not a lot,
but
yeah.
Something.
But it is the technically correct play, as the kids say. Yeah, that's but yeah, I think I believe Caleb is on 2 what is it, Unstable Hearse? What's the name of the card? I forgot.
Unlicensed Hearse.
Unlicensed Hearse, thank you. I believe Caleb is on 2 copies of Unlicensed Hearse, is what he said the other day. Somebody was looking for him and he was like, I have those, but you can't have them, as he is wont to do.
It's reasonable. Like a second prediction thing here is, I don't think anybody had enough time to get it in the first time.
Yeah, I think I mean now you have the foresight of knowing Kai is up here, but
I mean, yeah, for crazier things have happened. Maybe the small margin that does bet on Caleb, that'll pay off.
Yeah, I just put in my 420 on Kai, so
great number. I think we're gonna do 3,500 here.
Is that all of his channel points?
Just about. Still 500 left. I think you're out. Yeah. So what kind of cards do you like? What kind of cards do you not like main deck?
Oh, jeez. So if I'm Kai, I'm cutting my Ragavans. Just because. Just because my opponent's going first.
Sure.
And Ragavan, and you're both Ragavan decks. I think whoever's on the draw generally wants to not have theirs in, just because they're not a great card. I wouldn't cut all 4 of them unless I have like some huge hammers in my sideboard. I know Caleb's on ley lines.
Oh.
I don't know if he wants to be bringing those in. it is like extra copies are additional things for delirium. That said, if you
Sure.
additional enables for delirium. That said, if you draw them, they're really bad because it is completely uncast. Well,
Oh, you've recommended.
yeah, I was gonna say not completely uncastable, but mostly
It might
uncastable.
as well be, yeah.
There are better things to do with your Ragavan money. Like I don't know, monkey money. I don't know if I want to bring that in. I might. Caleb might. He's a bit of a madman. He's definitely bringing in those unlicensed firsts if Kai has them. I imagine he is too. They are too. I don't know. I don't know either of their sideboards very well. You're like neither of them. Definitely neither of them are bringing in Blood Moons.
No, I think that is
because like you're both Blood Moon decks, so you wouldn't want to.
And have Ragavans.
Yeah, and have potential of Ragavans. And I mean, you could theoretically get lucky and hose the other player, but like, I think the payoff there is not worth the risk.
I don't think so at all. Yeah.
So like maybe if they have any sideboard Brazen Borrowers, bouncing a Murktide's not. Is not like non-zero value.
Even something like Dress Down might not be terrible either.
Yeah, to dress down a Murktide. Also
put it into bolt range.
Yeah. Also, or keep it out of escaping. Keep it from escaping.
Unholy Heat?
Yeah, Unholy Heat range if it's being cast for 7 or 8.
Yeah, I have a feeling the graveyards are not going to be too large in this post sideboard.
No.
Because I'm pretty sure Kai is on Relic.
Yeah.
Relic and Soul Guide.
Yeah. If Caleb has Furies in his sideboard, I definitely think he's bringing those as well. I think it's probably like the 2 Hearses and any number of Furies that he has. If Kai has more Furies in his sideboard beyond the 1 we saw, I think he's bringing that in also. And then obviously, like you said, the Relic and the Lantern, Soul Guide Lantern.
Yeah, Lantern's less good against decks like Murktide that are going to like slowly fill their graveyard rather than something like Living End that's just going to like use their graveyard all in one turn.
Yeah, but also sometimes your Murktide opponent has exactly 4 card types, and one of the card types they only have 1 of, and you drew the Lantern, so you're like, fuck.
Yeah, they can slow them down for a turn or 2.
Yeah. Also, suddenly removing Delirium from your opponent's creatures is non-zero value. So, what is in the? Oh, I assume it's a bubble. I assume that's a bauble, but I wasn't paying attention, so
I believe so, judging by what Fluffy put up on the camera for us.
Yeah, there we go. All right, cool. I sent our runner to go.
Nice.
Go have him switch it up. For...
One of these days we'll have an upgrade to just have a more permanent setup where we can control glare and stuff like that.
Well, I was gonna say... I was gonna say, just like, I think getting like, so back here towards the back of the store, we have two of these things have their diffusers on them, and both of the lights up at the front of the store don't. So like just like swapping that.
We have tried to swap them in the past. I think I just want to get something like so some of them don't have the latches to like be able to support them.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense.
But I think something like a cover of some sort, because it's really only like one angle that light is coming in.
Yeah. The other thing is, like, I'm sure there might, if we could figure if it was possible to figure out something to like maybe extend the camera angle, like camera arm angle, that might be able to fix it, but that also could just make it worse because
it's a little untested.
Yeah. No, you figure something out, I'm sure.
Oh, with enough time, we're not in any big rush, but
no, we'll just do what they did in the good old days of Magic and make people play without sleeves, so that way you can see the cards on camera.
Zero glare. Honestly, I think there would still be some glare. I feel like modern day cards are a little glossier.
Yeah, you'd probably have a bit.
Yeah, Kai's just really playing in like the specific glare spot, but a little unlucky.
Yeah,
but that'll happen. But Caleb having a resolved creature in play is a pretty big deal here.
Yeah. Especially
his passing. Back.
Wow. Okay. What is going on in his hand?
Maybe just some cantrips. Maybe a counter spell. I feel like Caleb with a fetch land could just play a Murktide here. So even having Murktide spell pierce up too.
Yeah.
Looks like he might be fishing for a third land. It's just gonna get a spell pierce from
Dispute actually.
Or dispute. Yeah. I knew that. That's what that
Caleb
card
just
was.
surveilled before the dispute resolve for some reason. That was interesting.
Yeah. I mean, it's not gonna change too much of his decision, right?
Oh, okay. I guess he was.
It was on the.
Maybe he had already acknowledged it resolving.
That it was
and just hadn't
resolving.
moved
Yeah,
it. Yeah, that's
yeah.
possible. He is sometimes slow to move things to his period. That's a subtlety. He has subtlety in his side.
He does. I like it.
Yeah, I think sending your opponent's Murktide Regents away is for free almost. I mean, like obviously gets got by counter spells, regular counter spells, but like
or dispute.
Yeah, yeah. It also dispute. I didn't even think about that. But like if you're tapped out and your opponent doesn't know that you're on it, you are probably just gonna get away with it.
Yeah, I think you can kind of cheese a quick win with that early, but
also a card I just remember that I think they both have in their sideboard that this is another reason to include Jace the Mind Sculptor.
Oh, yep.
Even if your opponent just plays Jace and brainstorms and you let the Jace resolve, you just flash that in at the end step, and then they're like, oh, there's a 3/3 in the air coming at my Jace. Well, neat. Although Fury does. As well, almost
on the light to help diffuse the light. That sounds like something we can try.
Yeah, I mean, you tape it up there or whatever.
Yeah, that's not too difficult.
Parchment paper's inexpensive. Walmart's right up the road.
This is very true. Yeah, we'll have to try that for next week's stream. We could try doing Pioneer without commentary tomorrow. That's something we could do, so we might be able to mess around with that a little bit.
You playing Pioneer or are you working during? So
yeah, I'm off tomorrow.
Okay. You play in the Pioneer?
I do play in the Pioneer event, yeah. Yeah.
Heck, I can come here and do terrible Pioneer commentary, having never played Pioneer ever.
You played through all of the sets in Pioneer, so you at least know the cards.
This is true, yeah. It's not like I'm doing anything else on Tuesdays, so.
Hey, but if you want to, you're more than welcome to play too. I mean,
you don't have a deck.
We can fix that. You can play basically whatever you want, Pioneer.
Yeah, but that would require me choosing a deck to play, and I don't.
That's the fun part.
Nah, James, I'm still working on finishing Doomsday.
Yeah, that is a higher priority. I understand that. I kind of just bought my whole Legacy deck.
Yeah, your whole Legacy deck's a little bit cheaper than mine.
I want my dual land spin. I could have bought this for $30 a piece. I missed the ball on that one.
You and me both, buddy.
Yeah. Back then I was thinking that I don't need these silly commander lands.
Yeah, they're so bad.
Why am I spending hundreds of dollars on duels? But yeah, it's more like thousands nowadays.
Yes, I can attest to that. I have my Doomsday sideboard is like $800 and $750 of that is Volcanic Island.
Yeah, that sounds like a Legacy sideboard. The only card in my sideboard that's actually worth something is Force Negation. Everything else is not a lot. I think Crumbling Vestige after that. Or not, Crumbling Vestige, Crucible of Worlds.
Okay. So you're on Crumbling Vestige in...
Wrong C colorless card. I'll let somebody enjoys the banter. Well, I mean, Breaker might be here tomorrow, it sounds like, so we'll have some kind of...
yeah, maybe James will end up on a buy. Like
yeah, it could happen. We should have a decent turnout for Pioneer, too, so I think we should start implementing the stream.
Yeah, man.
Just get some more shots out there, get people a chance to showcase their decks, because it's a new and growing format.
Won't really be able to have the level of won't be able to have the cards up on the screen like that, I don't think, but we can figure something out.
Yeah, even just having the commentary is probably worthwhile.
Yeah.
That does seem like a part of the stream people do enjoy, so we'll continue.
Yeah.
But anyways, back to this.
Yeah, we have talking 0% about what's going on in this game. Kai's got an 8/8 Murktide. And,
Ledger
I think
Strider looks
Caleb's
like
up a tree.
yeah, just like a little bird in the face of this dragon. So
Yeah, I mean, I have definitely seen board states where it was ready up there and ready to contend with that dragon.
oh
but
yeah, no,
it don't look like Caleb's close to getting that, especially when he's like.
yeah, it takes a little while. It takes like X amount of turns for the amount of counters you want in Ledger Strider minimum.
Yeah. Okay. Well.
Caleb with the Murktide of his own.
Yeah.
We'll see if
Dragon and back.
If Kai is like double. If Kai is like double interaction here, I'd say he's pretty safe. To counter the Murktide, but you would need like dispute plus spell pierce. It looks like he just has counterspell. He's gonna try. I feel like Caleb has it. Yep.
Yep. I don't know. Maybe I was about to say maybe we would have seen a random force of negation out of Kai
Sure.
with the big brain play.
there's
Oh,
the
getting the ley line.
It's coming up. Yeah, I don't think
Alright.
Megaman's gonna hit anytime soon.
No.
And Caleb's at 9. Kai
Oh,
might
he
go
only-
at 9 as well here.
Caleb.
Caleb eliminated a 7/7.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess does it look like he couldn't make it bigger than that?
I don't think so.
Yeah, because there's a Darcy in there, so I'm guessing. Oh, maybe he could have. Just
He
trying to
wanted to keep
maintain delirium.
delirium,
Yeah.
yeah. But I mean, unless he is on a holy heat, I don't really see why that matters.
Oh, he put the wrong cards in the exile pile. Okay, so it was actually one of the bauble was one of the cards that was exiled.
Yeah, that is a reason I like separating the piles completely.
Yes.
Like Kai is doing.
Yeah, I stick
It's
mine
a little clearer.
wildly off. Well, sometimes wildly off to the side, but I also don't put my graveyard behind my library.
Yeah.
This is not a shot at anyone who does. I realize that there are people that do.
That's how the playmat,
Yeah, which I don't
it's
get.
telling you to do that.
I understand, and I don't get that. When I first started playing, one of the first products I had was I think an M10 starter deck, and or not the starter deck, but like I think they were called starter decks, whatever the decks with Shiv and Dragon on the front.
The structure decks or
Yeah,
whatever you want to
whatever
call
it's
it.
called. Yeah, and I think the like instructions on how to play in there had deck and then graveyard next to it,
Mm.
and so that's just how I've
Sure.
always played because it's like that makes sense. Your opponent can clearly see everything
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
going on. I can also clearly see everything that's
Right.
going on.
That's how it should be.
And then you stick your exile way off to the side, not anywhere near your graveyard, so it doesn't get
Just
confused.
pull up a second table,
Yeah,
That's
man.
your exile.
Throw
pile.
it in a box off under the table, in the trash can, into a shredder. who
Take them out of the
cares?
sleeves. Yeah, they're gone.
Yeah, I mean,
Rift Sweeper doesn't exist. There's no way to get.
pull from eternity.
Yeah, no, those cards don't exist. You can't get anything back from exile. So a second Murktide for Caleb here. will
Wow,
make
yeah.
The other Murktide just big enough to contend with the Kais. So I think he can attack here with
Yeah,
five creatures.
with just the Murktide.
Just the Murktide.
Offering the trade on the Murktides.
I feel like if your Kai just don't take this,
Yeah, I
you take the
Hey.
damage.
think I agree. Yeah.
Because like if you're winning this game, you have to have some way to deal with the Murktide. So
Yeah, and like both of those creatures are also removable by Unholy Heat. So like, if Kai has like double Unholy Heat,
well, yeah, to
Feel
just
better
kill the
that way.
8/8.
yeah.
And then-
no. I mean, to
To just kill
to
Caleb.
kill the two blockers because Caleb's nearly dead.
Right.
Like Kai just has
Well,
to be
Kai
able to
would
make.
be dead on the crackback then.
Yes, sure. Kai just has to be able to make one card leave his graveyard. And he has enough to be able to do heat Murktide, which would get him there. Although it looks like that's not what we're gonna see here. There's a lantern. He can take a card out of his own graveyard, so heat would work here. But it looks like he's targeting something from Caleb's.
Yeah, making a larger Murktide.
He can make
the lethal
grow his
Murktide,
own
yeah,
Murktide.
it's- so I guess that's not. Kai just probably doesn't have double Unholy Heat then.
Also, probably doesn't. He is.
Okay.
I think he might because like also Brazen Borrower on Holy
You
Heat
could
does
also
it.
just crack the Soul Guide and grow it too.
No, it's opponents.
Oh, it's only opponents.
it's only
not-
opponents.
It's not target player. Oh,
Yeah, so he just needs heat.
Heat. Here's one.
Heat. Brazen Borrower gets there.
Well, look, Caleb also does have 2 blue untapped, I believe. So
Yeah.
this isn't for sure.
No, this isn't guaranteed, but like this is the road for Kai to win the game here.
Right. Here's Fury.
Fury
on kill the 4/4 Murktide.
Oh man,
So that's basically double.
Caleb's letting it resolve. So Kai had counter spell back up there.
I believe
appeared
Kai
to.
does have counterspell.
Yeah, I hope it doesn't try to pay for something with what I believe is a Scalding Tarn there.
I mean, if you fetch now, you could just die to Bolt. I guess.
Yes,
So
yeah.
You have to go to combat here, though. There's no way you don't just try to win the game.
Yeah,
Because if Caleb has something like Petty Theft then you're just dead anyways.
Yeah.
So Kai is gonna go to 3 after a fetch.
Or does Caleb have? No, it looks like Caleb has a basic over there, so he can't have his own double heat.
Sure.
I've sent our runner to go find out what's going on with that judge call that I don't think the viewers heard, but I did.
Yeah. Oh no, we heard loud and clear. As you know, a player should be with a judge call. Okay, so might be overkill here, but I guess this is signifying like Kai doesn't have a counterspell in hand. And this Murktide will grow the other Murktide rather large, and then maybe you just sit back on both of the Murktides, and then it's incredibly hard for you to lose the game. But then at what point do you start attacking? Like, I think
no, I think you just go for killing your opponent here.
oh, that wasn't Kai's hand. Okay.
I think you just go for killing your what?
He's just gonna pass it back. Give Caleb a chance.
Caleb only had one card in hand. I guess that's okay. So if you're playing around your opponent having Brazen Borrower,
Brazen Borrow specifically at this point.
he's confused as to what's going on. I just picked up all of their lands.
It's just something people do. Is pick up.
Also, it has a counterspell. Could have not cast the second.
Yeah, because then you run into this problem where there's just another
win this game.
I guess the Murktide is just a 3/3, and Caleb's tapped out now.
Yeah,
so if you can deal with this 3/3,
can't even double block.
You can't even win the game with the small Murktide either. So this is gonna take 2 turns. If Kai double attacks here, then there's no point in doing what he did last time.
Yeah, there we go. All right, so.
So you're forced to jump, go to 3, and then this still die, or Kai could still die to bolt here.
Yeah, I mean you're dead to bolt.
You give Caleb less draws.
Yeah,
if you just attack faster.
Yes, obviously killing your opponent when you have instead of casting the Murktide, killing your opponent when they have one card in hand and you have
counterspell backup. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Kai's last card is counterspell.
Yes, yeah. When you have counterspell backup, that was an interesting decision.
Mystical Dispute was the draw, so.
Yep. Oh, there was also yep. Kai gets it.
Oh, there was a bolt not too far down though, so if Kai had waited any longer, I think that would have ended pretty poorly for them. But
yeah. So I know previously we had discussed doing winner interviews. Possibly.
Yeah.
Do you want me to go grab Kai and you can talk to them? Or do you want to start that another week, or
we might do that for like the end of the tournament?
Okay.
Just get like the winner.
Whoever gets first.
Right.
Gotcha. I was just thinking of ways to fill. I mean, this round we only have 8 minutes left, but last round
there was a little bit more time.
Yeah, my match ended with like 20 left. We can do that. I could definitely do that tomorrow if I show up to do commentary for Pioneer also, so I'm not always alone back here. If there's an even number of you people.
This is true. Yeah.
You pioneers.
Yeah, pioneering the new format. I mean, it really is, you can play whatever you want, with some exceptions. There's a lot of choices, I should say. But we might be back with a little commentary, but for now we're just going to take a short break before the next round, so stick around. We'll be back in about 10 minutes or so with the next round.
All right, so it looks like we have round 3 starting. We have Steven here on Elementals and Kai here on Murktide. It looks like Steven will be going first. Looks like Kai is mulliganing. Going to 6.
All right, I've returned. We are joined in the booth here with Nico. I don't know how to say your last name, so I'm not going to butcher
Yeah, we
it.
can stick with that, like Prince or Bono. Close enough.
Yeah, that works. That works. So we have returning player Kai here against Steven, and Steven is on the 4-color Yorion pile. It's a pretty similar list to what we saw Reed on earlier in round 1. And it looks like Steven did win the die roll here.
Oh, you did.
So we might be seeing a red and 6 and get to ping this DRC, which would be pretty ideal for the 4-color player. And we just have our players situating their decks and graveyards in the non-glare section. Something we're going to start working on. But for now, it'll work. But looks like Steven does have this red and 6 to take out the DRC, so it's a huge tempo play. Even bigger of an advantage if we see no Ragavan being dashed here from Kai. But okay, so we do see Bolt to take out the Ren. So hopefully Steven has some number of lands in hand and wasn't solely relying on the Ren to make his land drops. Maybe Ren number 2 here? No, dashed Ragavan. So no second land drop from Kai. Pretty large here, as the Murktide deck does need some number of lands above 2 to actually function. And Steven opting to cast the DRC off of the Ragavan treasure. Which is kind of curious. I'm kind of curious about because he does have an Omnath in hand, and he could just save the treasure and play Omnath off the treasure, then play a land, preferably a fetch land to get more mana. That's kind of how you beat these Murktide decks, especially when they struggle to hit land drops. Which, like, Kai's not going to have main deck Mystical Dispute, so this Omnath is probably going to resolve. This Kai just deploys more threats. So I like saving the treasure there, but getting a DRC isn't terrible. It's some good value. If it doesn't, Steven doesn't have another way to actually deal with the Ragavan, which I think he does. He has Bolt Fury. It's not a bad blocker against Ragavan, but I think I'd rather just jam an Omnath out here with a bunch of value. But now with only 3 lands to start with, you kind of have to play back. Maybe dash out Ragavan. Dash out Ragavan, hold up bolts, or even bolt the Ragavan now, if Kai doesn't block.
Well, it doesn't look like he could even bolt it because he only has 1 red source.
He could use the treasure.
Didn't he use it to cast the DRC?
Well, if the Ragavan connects. I feel like the Ragavan's going to connect here. Okay, maybe not. Kai choosing to trade Ragavans. Take 2, or take 1. So unless Steven has another land, this bolt is not going to happen. I think it's Otawara is the other land.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I really like keeping the treasure rather than playing the DRC there if you know you don't have another fetch. Or I guess maybe that's what his thinking was, right? Is that he didn't have a fetch, so there's no point in turboing out Omnath?
Maybe. Yeah, because he only gets the value of the
He actually can't even play Omnath off of this mana right now.
no red, green, blue. He would have needed the treasure.
Right. So good on Steven not playing the land right away to tip Kai off on that. Kai's still on 2 lands, putting Spiral of Canal to the top, it looks like. And then something else on the bottom. Steam Vent's in hand too, so we do have a 3rd land drop. Put Kai down to 15. And dashing a Ragavan. Or no, just
Point.
regular
Yeah,
cast of
just
Ragavan,
regular.
yep. So this Fury's looking really strong for Steven here if he can find another land, but I think he just drew Prismatic Ending. Which I think you can just toss. You can toss a bolt away, maybe. For the Fury. Or you could just 1-for-1. He could just bolt ending. It's not terrible. And then still a Fury. But Fury like doesn't get much better than this in the matchup. It's just a little unfortunate he didn't hit a land. Yeah, I think he realizes the value. It's going to clear up Kai's small creatures, and we'll see if Kai is a Murktide. Land creature planeswalker, not quite enough for DRC.
He dashes the Ragavan. Now we can get the treasure for Omnath if he needs it.
Yep, yeah, that'll be pretty big. And a bolt is revealed. It should just stay in exile, and then Steven's gonna get a treasure. Yeah, I like that. I mean, the benefit of playing Ragavan in the 4-color decks is you do kind of have a clock. Other than your like 4 and 5 cost creatures. Because Kai's at 12, Steven's at 19. Like, he's putting on the pressure. And it's really just come from this one Ragavan. Murktide off expressive iteration. Let's see if Kai's a second land. Or a 4th land, a second source of mana for this Murktide. I don't believe. Oh, okay.
There you go.
Scalding Tarn should just get an island here. Yep. Is porting those crispy beta islands. I'd love to see it. So Steven's mana situation is not looking amazing. Even if he can cast Omnath next turn, he still only has 1 red mana, so he can't. I guess he already played the Bolt, so
Yeah.
he still just wants to draw a fetch blind here. That's got to be the best draw. It's kind of not okay. I think you have to play the Murktide here. It's just it's gonna go away regardless if you don't cast it because it's just in exile. So
Right.
you might as well just like I don't know what you're afraid of if you're holding up counterspell here. Like if he plays Omnath, it's not that big a deal, but like Solitude's really what you're worried about. But Steven only has technically 1 white source, but it's only a treasure, so he would have to pitch for it anyways. Yeah, starting with 1 land for a couple turns, Kai's really turning this around off of Steven not having too many land drops.
I think it was the fetch. It looked like a Scalding Tarn, maybe?
Yeah, I did not get a great look at it. Alright, we're casting Omnath. Should resolve. I don't think Kai's main decking Subtlety. I do kind of see it looked like an old border
Counterspell.
fetch.
Counterspell and Unholy Heat on Kai's side too.
Wow, and Steven's just gonna pass back. I was gonna come across for 5, putting Steven down to 14. And Unholy Heating with Delirium, I'm assuming, on the Omnath. So I'm gonna clear that up, make sure that doesn't live for too long. And really just put Steven on having another Omnath, which Kai is a counterspell for. With the Veneration, looks like that will prompt one of the counterspells in Kai's hand. I believe there's one more. Yep. So this is the turn if Steven did have a Solitude. He could pitch for it, as Kai doesn't really have an answer for it. And if that does happen, Kai's left with just one counterspell in hand, and this DRC might just go the distance for Steven.
I mean, is Steven delirious now?
Sorcery, creature, land, planeswalker off the run in 6.
Yeah.
So he is delirious. So we can start getting in for 3. He just really needs to find a way to deal with the Murktide. And shocking down to 11 is a little dangerous.
Frightening.
And the Murktide is just a slightly bigger than Yorion too, so Yorion is not a real answer here. It's like a red and 6 maybe? No,
Rag.
dashing the reg. Come across for 5, almost a turn 2 clock. We'll see what we hit. We hit Murktide pretty big here. Steven doesn't have the mana to cast it. Oh, he will have
He
the
will
Treasure.
have the Treasure,
Okay.
yeah.
So I think that is a solution to the Ragavan. Or the opposing Murktide, excuse me. So we're gonna be using that Treasure. It's not gonna be very large, but it is gonna make Steven's clock lethal for next turn. And Kai doesn't have a counterspell available. Just gonna leave the lands in play for Ren. I do like that. And I believe I get a 1 counter.
Yeah, I think it was the only Express iteration.
Yeah. Ragavan will go back to hand. And DRC is not delirious, notably. So if Kai does decide to come in for 5, then Steven gets to also attack in for 5, plus the 2 from Rag. So Kai really has to draw something that's not a counterspell. I guess counterspell can just hit the Ragavan, but that's not a winning battle. Kai just playing the Steam Vents that drew for turn. Ragavan really showing how powerful it can be in this type of matchup, where Steven just hasn't really drawn too many threats other than Ragavan, but Ragavan
Oh, and he
has
just got
gotten
this
other
out.
threats. Yeah, I did see that. But there are 1 white source in play for Steven. So dash Ragavan using a white source. I guess he doesn't have a land, so it doesn't really matter.
And it looked like he had a prismatic ending, so he could just pitch it if
He
necessary.
has had that in hand for a while. I think you just get hit by counterspell. Okay, wow. Okay,
Which
so
is-
now the Solitude gets to come down.
Yeah.
That is pretty big. I think he has a backup Ragavan too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those last 2 cards are Solitude, Prismatic Ending, which I think you just fire off now.
Yeah.
Get rid of the Murktide, come across for
Come
7.
across for lethal, yeah.
Well, he's gonna
Oh,
he's gonna move to 11. Yeah. So Kai has 1 more draw step, but I don't believe any draw is good out of this because Kai's gonna go down to 4. Okay, I guess a large Murktide off the top would do it. Because it's creature land, I believe, is all that's in Steven's graveyard. So
Yeah.
it's not a delirious.
Correct.
Sending Kai to 4, okay. Ragvan should be back in hand.
they're just talking something over.
I think not too sure what happened there. Okay, so guys just scooping them up, and Steven will take this game number 1. So yeah, Steven really winning that game off of the back of Ragavan. Making that card look pretty solid on camera here. So out of the sideboard here for Steven, I think we're probably going to be looking at just more endurances being added to the deck, taking out things like Ephemerate as they're kind of a liability, as most of your creatures that you're ephemerating are just going to die to Bolt or in Holy Heat anyways. And then
Looks like he took out the Magus.
oh yeah, that card's terrible in the matchup. It doesn't have 0 text, but it might as well.
I have is a couple of cards in Steven's deck that are upside down. Never have I been more triggered in my life.
Yeah, I gotta fix that immediately. I think at least when I play the 4-color deck, I all of that kind of like goes out the window. As you're just really concerned with like time and round.
Yes, shuffling so fast.
Yeah, there's just so many game actions needed to be taken. Yeah, this is only round 3. We've had all of our matches go to time, plus a little bit of extra. So I believe this might be the last round. I think it comes down to a tiebreaker, or not a tiebreaker, a pair down. So if the pair down wins, then this is the last round. Then from Kai's side of thing, I really like bringing in subtlety here. Yeah, nice. Yeah, using that X, getting rid of our solicitation viewers, but we'll still take the viewers, you know.
I would just like to say, started at 7:30, didn't need the time extension.
It's fair. Yeah, sorry we couldn't start earlier for you, man. We usually start around 7:15.
I'll take the L on that one. That was
yeah. We do try to accommodate for other players, but in the future, I mean, we will try to promptly start at 7:15. There usually isn't too much of a delay there. But I know starting at 7 is a little late for most people working 9 to 5s. I definitely understand that. We could try starting a little earlier. I'm not sure how much that might impact the rest of the community, but that's definitely something we can bring up and see how easy that is to implement, because I would like to have as many people be able to participate as possible. Looks like Kai is showing everyone spicy beam before the match starts. Yeah, we can change that to say 7:15. All right. Well, Kai's gonna get to be on the play here. And I think that is a pretty big deal, as the 80 card decks don't always have a way to deal with a dash Ragavan, and
It is frightening.
yeah, if you just have like Prismatic Ending or even Solitude, you might not be fully tempted to use those resources right away.
Even looking like he's gonna mulligan.
Yeah, pretty common occurrence for the 4-color deck. There's a lot going on that you're trying to have happen in the list, and sometimes just having 2 lands or 2+ lands is the hardest battle to fight in the deck. As 30 lands is pretty low for an 80 card deck, I think, but it's not low enough to where it's like actually a detriment. But you are going to take a mulligan every now and again, like most decks. Even stuff like Amulet Titan playing 30+ lands in a 60 card deck, you know, you're gonna draw hands with 1 or less lands.
Feel like in Titan that could sometimes be a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely seen Will keep like mostly lands in a hand to play something out turn 1, and then I think Eric Thoughtseize them, and there's all lands. So it's yeah. Titan can definitely function, even find other Titans off of just lands. So real feasible there. And Steven's taking a look at, I think, 3 lands at least here. Looks like Misty and a couple others, as well as Fury, Omnath.
Abundant Grove.
Oh, that's what that first card is in Solitude.
Yeah.
So I'm really tempted to keep this hand here, as it has fetch land for a green and Abundant Growth. I'm kind of surprised he left in Fury. Maybe there just weren't enough cards to take out. Because Fury we saw last game was good, but that's really the only scenario where I've seen Fury be strong. There have been a couple times where I've been able to Fury Murktide and Ephemerate it, but keeping Ephemerate and Fury in seems pretty bad in this matchup. Yeah, that did happen. I wasn't imagining things. Thoughtseize with no cards is the saddest of Thoughtseizes.
Steven flips his cards so fast, it's gonna give my brain an angle.
I can barely see the cards in his hand. Yeah, that's why I was taking a note of when he was looking at his mulligan decision. It's like that was the only time. So Kai's just gonna start off with DRC Consider. Into second Consider. So this might be an early Murktide we're seeing, which we know Steven has a Solitude for. Yeah, this is just a lot of lands going in the graveyard, looks like. And Iteration also going to the graveyard.
Right. Cool. Makes you think what could they have in their hand?
Hey, thanks for the 2-month sub, Eric. Yeah, I think now that you're subbed, you have access to those spicy emotes. Added a few more on there.
Please tell me you turned that Aquino face into an emote.
I did. Yes. I did with my own face as well.
Yes. See, now I got a sub too for these emotes. It's the fact that we can use them other places.
Oh yeah, you can use them on any channel or
yeah.
Maybe even Discord. I feel like Twitch has a Discord link as well, where you can use.
Like you link it with a Discord or something.
Yeah, there's like some functions. I don't know if emotes are one of those functions, but
if they're not,
allegedly. Hey, there we go.
Oh my gosh.
I think I probably should change it, but I definitely made the other ones tier 1 or tier 2 and 3. I think they should definitely be more accessible.
Oh, okay.
Wonder if I could change that from here.
Even did get an expressive iteration counter, which is amazing.
Yeah, I mean it gets a counterspell out of
items, which is nice.
Yeah, like Murktide's big game plan though is they're gonna make it so when you cast spells, they're just as awkward to cast them as possible, or they're just gonna line up with one of your counterspells. So like Murktide really gets to dictate like the pace of the match. And similarly to Legacy Delver, you just get to stick one threat that wins the game essentially. It'll just be there for all of these turns that you're messing with your opponent's mana and like their timing for casting spells. And then you just get to beat them down. I think that was either a missed click or that's just automated because I definitely didn't mean to do that, but I saw a notification come up. Not intentional. I try to do the ad breaks. I don't even think I've done one today, but usually when the matches are over in there. I'm not trying to be invasive of this gameplay that I know everyone is curious to watch.
Is that a time warp in Steven's head?
That is a time warp.
That's frightening.
We haven't seen Eternal Witness yet, but we have seen Ephemerate, so there is gonna be some way to take a bunch of turns here.
Let the hate ceiling begin.
Yeah, I think taking your Jace out of bolt range is just something you have to do. I know when I played against Steven, when he was playing his blue-red deck, he would immediately take it up to take it out of bolt range, which is pretty impactful considering most of the full color decks are on bolt over on Holy Heat, which I think is correct, but in this scenario it does kind of make Jace a little difficult to kill. But we're gonna stick an Endurance here on end step, and that's gonna prevent Kai from playing any Murktides here. And gonna get Jace down to 2 loyalty, if not 0.
Within bolt range.
Exactly. Which Steven has in hand. And Kai only has 2 cards in hand, I believe.
That's it.
Oh, because that was main phase. That was main phase Endurance, with a missed land drop. With 2 missed land drops now from Steven.
Yeah.
So we're ticking up again. Okay, so we're just trying to win the game with this Jace.
Well, in Steven's favor, it looks like it might be a land drop.
Yeah, I mean, Steven has ways to just kill a Jace too, and like outside of burn with prismatic ending or even this Endurance. I mean, this Endurance might just go the distance as well.
Yeah.
So Fury, Pitched Fury is going to take out the Endurance and keep Jace from losing loyalty. And Kai still has Counterspell mana up to catch anything like a Prismatic Ending or really anything that Steven is going to be tapping out for here.
Storm of each draws.
So Steven looks like he's just going to be playing Windswept Heat Pass here, maybe holding up a counterspell, trying to make Kai's mana awkward, but I think all Kai really has to do is just tick up Jace for the rest of the game. And then put things on the bottom like Omnath that we see there, which actually like wouldn't have been that bad.
I think Steven also has 1 or 2 Omnaths in hand.
Right, and I think no matter what, Steven is just going to be fetching here, so this isn't super relevant. What the uptick on Jace does here, but it's something. Because we might have like an Ice Fang Coatl if he were to just leave the Omnath on top with the Fate Seal. Just the main phase consider, and then it looks like we're just passing back. As Steven is reaching for his deck with the Windswept Heath. Probably just gonna
get that Plains, right?
Maybe, yeah, try to get
the trial. Band trial.
I feel like if you keep Ice Fangs in, you definitely want to get your basics out. But maybe mana is a concern here. because you have one basic in play and Stomping Ground, I think the worst shock in the deck. And only one 5-color land, so your mana's a little awkward if you're trying to cast multiple spells in a turn. But you should be good casting any one spell at a time, so getting the Triumph doesn't seem too bad. But we are looking for a way to deal with this Jace. I mean, Steven can buy himself a couple turns just by bolting the Jace as well.
Yeah.
And Brendan 6 will probably prompt a counterspell. See if Kai has any interest in counter. I think you probably do just counter this because Steven's been struggling to hit land drops, but looks like it will resolve anyways. Getting the 5th land drop. Steven will just pass it back, so having a resolved Ren in play 2 means that Steven can just start pinging down the Jace. Oh yeah, it looks terrible if they don't have any of their mana facilitators. It's like the 4-color Urza decks also looked like this. But I mean, even just one abundant growth can really help your mana because it just turns a normal basic into a 5-color land.
Against the Fury.
Yeah, that should just take out the Ren here. I don't.
Oh.
Does Steven have? Oh, that is a counter spell, not
it's a-
Time Warp. It is the Japanese one though, from Strixhaven.
Yeah. Okay.
Well,
I guess that's
that-
better that it was a
I
counter spell
think
instead of
so.
time
I
warp.
think 9 times out of 10 you want that to be a counter spell. I was a little curious as to why he was playing Time Warp still, but that makes sense being a counter spell. And Jace, couple turns away from ulting here, but Steven can definitely stop it. I think Kai's looking at 2 counter spells in hand. This looks like Omnath.
I was just gonna say, I think we can Omnath and hit Jace for 4 here, right?
Yes, we can get a fetch back. Oh, yeah, we do have Misty in the graveyard, yeah. So we can deal 4 to Jace, gain 4 life, gain 4 mana. Which is a pretty big turnaround turn for Steven. And it all was caused by Kai not counterspelling
The Ren.
the Ren, yeah. If he just counterspell the Ren, he'd still have Fury and counterspell. Still 1 counterspell in hand too.
And Steven looks like to drew another counterspell for turn. So
I feel like Kai might have been able to just brainstorm with Jace the turn prior as well. Because you have a fetch in play, and like you're not gonna win the game by ulting Jace this early. Like you need a bigger advantage, I think.
and now Ice Fang Koalas are on as well.
Yep, that'll block any Murktides or DRCs, anything really. Steven Lib Cavern.
Oh, naming because I mean technically he's elementals, I guess. So just name.
He might be
name
playing
that
more
boy.
Furies, yeah. I don't think we saw any like both of Nissa or anything, so
I don't think so.
he's on a bit of a hybrid build. It looks like the Cavern is greedy, but it is kind of nuts when it works. So
It's like counterspell, solitude, bolt.
oh, do we have second counterspell? Well, we don't have the mana for it this turn, though.
No, yeah, because you got the forest, right?
Right. He could have shocked twice, I guess. Been at 12, and then would have been able to hold the counterspell. But you have Solitude plus counterspell next turn for a Murktide if that happens.
So Kai with the bauble here. Checking his top here. Gonna bounce the Omnath here. It's probably a good idea because then Steven can't cast the Yorion and the Omnath in the same turn. Which I'm not entirely sure that Steven really cares.
I assume on the other 0-1 was.
Yep, and here's the Omnath again.
But like in a situation like this, I think the repair is actual.
Steven with the counterspell back. Nice. Oh,
And then whoever sees paradox, you're on Hobie's. So like you can go into just randomly in the bias by being one so he gets to go to a free super, which is not exactly fair in some local. Also, yeah, also like points I mean
yeah, I think I agree with you as well. I think the multiple brainstorms would definitely have been of greater value. Getting a land, good. Can't exactly tell what kind of land is a little bit of glare, but if it's a fetch, at least they'll be able to clear the brainstorm, which will be good. Ren is able to ultimate. Just got to survive between now and next turn, and Steven does have the bolt in hand. The prismatic ending, the Jace. Nice.
Yeah.
Steven has been holding on to that one for a little while, so it's good that he was able to finally use it here.
Yeah. It was finicky and really glitchy, but yeah, it had all of the functionality. Just keep it grounded. Don't care about that. It's one of those things.
I have 2 cards in hand, it looks like.
Well, so like, but the thing is that like, yeah, for PC.
There you go, gets the other Triumph. He has almost assembled Exilium. Yes, you are correct. The J should go to exile. We did fix that.
Otherwise, say no, it's running for really weird.
All right, I'm back again. And so now Steven has the Planeswalker that's threatening to ult after the Jace has been no longer for this world after the prismatic ending, it looks like.
Yeah, correct. I'm almost surprised that Steven didn't ult here because he has the second Ren in hand.
I guess he's trying to draw removal from Kai, maybe? Like if Kai spends a bolt on this, I don't know. Because like a Ren ult is insanely powerful.
Yeah, and he has the bolt in hand, so
And he has plenty of mana to replay. I guess
yeah,
if you ult a Ren and you replay a Ren, it might get counterspelled, right?
that's fair. I did use 2 counterspells up already.
That's fair. This is a very safe play. I guess there's no reason to rush it. But you do kind of run the risk of potentially losing the Ren ult capability.
Sure.
Looks like just Murktide Scalding Tarn in hand for Kai here.
Looks like we might see the Murktide.
I think we're just gonna have to try to play it. Or DRC as well.
Just deploy all the threats.
Yeah, basically.
I think Steven still has the Solitude in hand.
So I'm pretty sure Steven is gonna be locked in with this Ren ult, which should just close the game there. Having another Ren in play. But if Steven doesn't have Counterspell here, I don't know why you would wait on the Ren ult, because now you can't deal with this Murktide as effectively. Unless of course you have a Solitude, which it looks like he's tapping 5 mana, so
Yeah, I think he's the same one he's been holding on to for a while here.
yep. So that kind of makes sense, and then now we just get to hold up counterspells for the rest of the game. Steven going from not many lands at the beginning to many lands.
Many lands.
Ren and 6 putting in a lot of work. And now we're gonna ultimate.
There you go.
So even now I would like to replay Ren and just get something back. Yeah, I don't think there's much of a reason to keep the Ren in play. For an extra turn at least. I think we have Veil of Summerfin too, so yeah, we should be locked up on this game, even maybe with just the Solitude. Looks like enchantment, creature, land, plus 3 of 1 card in Kai's graveyard. It might be another land. So I don't know if we're delirious. Steven is gonna retrace his
Expressive iteration.
Yep. And be able to get that Sacred Foundry back and not have to fetch either. It's pretty powerful. Quaddle Endurance looks like to be the pickup, so I think putting Endurance in exile, Quaddle in hand, and then just slamming this Endurance.
This is in response to judges constantly asking for that. And to judges. I'm on your side. I'm on your side. You are attacking, you are attacking. People make things power.
All right. Said to
Let the bolting begin.
yeah. I mean that's how you can win the game with a Ren ult, is just keep slamming bolts at people.
Nice. And we're gonna just basically just keep gaining life here now with the Solitude, which is sweet.
Yeah, it's a pretty good spot for the full color deck at this point in the game. Basically, just the longer the game goes on, the more and more percentage points you have towards winning, which is how most control decks work out. But I think the full color deck takes it to a whole nother level. I mean, you get Ren ult. As time goes on, you get more cards to retrace. He doesn't even have an Omnath in play. it's really just Ragavan beat down at this point. Yeah, I mean, you can concede at any point in time, but this Kai is already down a game, so I guess he's just playing it out. But
Right.
the 4-color decks do tend to take a while.
Blood Moon.
There's a very late Blood Moon.
Yeah.
Blood Moon is really only good in the matchup in the first 2 or 4 turns of the game where we did see Steven struggle a little bit on mana. And it can do wonders there, but like at this point in the game, it's just too little too late.
And he's got 3 fetches in play, so he's just going to get all the basics left out of his deck.
Yeah, he can just play around this pretty adequately, and then he has 1 abundant growth in play and 3 in the deck still.
Looks like he's got both planes, 1 island, and a forest, so
Oh, is he on 2 planes? He is, yeah, okay.
got to hard cast them sour things. You know?
That does make sense. I was considering that, but I really only like double planes if you're playing brought back in the deck. I think other than this scenario, double planes is kind of bad. But Steven is main decking Magus of the Moon, so that might.
And it looks like Kai is going to concede here.
Yeah, I think that's a safe bet. All right, so Steven will take this in 2. Having a pretty good representation for the 4-color deck today, but Steven going to a 201 record, I believe. I believe he drew the first round, or one of the rounds in the mirror match, as there are 3 people playing the 4-color deck here today. But I do like the matchup against Murktide. I think main decking Endurance helps the 4-color deck immensely. And we did see Steven fight through multiple ways of Kai trying to win the game. Through Jace, small creatures, and even Murktide, and Steven was able to deal with all of them, and still have enough time on the clock to, recollect yourself, de-sideboard, shuffle up all of your clumped lands. There's a lot that goes into playing the 4-color deck, but once you get some reps in with it, I think it can be really powerful and just start taking down basically every matchup that you need it to, except for Burn. Burn's pretty bad. Burn and Tron are not easy, but I think Tron is a lot easier with Besiju and Ragavan in your deck, and then Burn obviously is like, it's winnable, it's just really narrow, and the sideboard cards that are good into Burn aren't good into anything else. So it's not fun. I'm not the biggest fan, but it's not a 0% chance to win. So I think you accept the fact that you'll have some bad matchups. When playing a deck like this.
You're just going to dodge them. That's the real skill.
I mean, up until Saturday, I hadn't played Burn with 4-color in months, so
Oh my gosh.
it Burn not being like the biggest meta deck definitely helps for like larger tournaments.
I was going to say, for the past 3 weeks, I've played nothing but Burn and red decks.
Yeah, I mean, the local meta is always gonna vary a little different than something like the Energy series or.
It's a charm off. That's frightening.
I do love that card. That's Steven is not gonna lose to the Tron deck. I think I think he's playing 4 Eldamar's Call too, so he's packing a lot of hate for that.
He's good.
Yeah, I mean, nothing feels better against Tron than playing Charma. It's exactly what you want. It's a fast clock that's evasive, and it blows up one of their lands. It does die to dismember though, but so that you can't have everything. But
That's why we were ephemerating.
yeah, oh yeah, and then that's
then
even
take
better.
another land.
Blow up all their lands. It's perfect. I know WotC's printed so many ways to combat Tron over the years, but this one's like actively pretty strong, I think.
I don't know, James. I think you're saying that because you have a large position in
Yeah.
Charm Laws.
I mean, yeah, I might own several hundred of those cards, but I don't know. I mean, it's the 25-cent rare at the moment, so it's not doing too much in any main deck. It's not even in most sideboards, but maybe in the future, when Tron.
I was gonna say Tron was, I think, just in like a top 4 recently.
I think so. Yeah. Yeah. All right, so this round's just about over. I'm gonna go check and see if there's any other matches going. But we should be getting the last round underway soon, as I believe since Steven did win this match, as he was the pair down, this will make it so there is one more round of Swiss, and that'll be our final round for the night. So in just 3 or 5 minutes, we should be back here with the last round. All right, a little delayed start for a commentary, but we are here for the fourth and final round here at Chupacabra Games, Monday Modern. And we have a matchup we have seen before with Steven on 4-color control versus Will on blue-red Murktide. And it looks like Steven might have been on the play as we are getting a fetch here, unless there was, of course, a missed land drop by Will. But I think it's safe to say that this is Will's end step, and we are Aldamri's calling here, looking for a creature. Endurance is probably the pick here. I think just something to tempo on this Ragavan, and also keep cards out of Will's graveyard is definitely something, definitely a place you want to be. Might be looking at Magus too, actually. Whereas he could just untap, play a Magus. That's like really playing into Will's counterspells, and also just this Ragavan that's gonna be making treasures as well. I'm not the biggest fan of this play. I think I'd rather see him pick up Endurance here. Maybe the plan is to force the counterspell out of Will and then play it to Fury afterwards. But with Endurance, you get the ability to play on Will's turn, tap him out, and then still be able to play something like Teferi, or even another Endurance, or this Magus. But I think that equation starts with having an Endurance. I think we're just going to be slamming Magus here. Looks like the debate is between Magus or Teferi. So we're going to try Teferi first. And if that sticks, we're probably just going to be ticking up, so if Will wants to kill it, it has to be Bolt plus with the Ragavan hit. And if Steven just bounces the Ragavan, Will can obviously just re-dash it and still be able to take out the Teferi. As it poses a pretty big threat against the Murktide deck that's running like 10 counterspells. Right, so counterspell will take care of the Magus, or the Teferi, and might make room for the Magus to be able to come down here. So we see 4th land for Steven, and we're slamming down an Omnath. So this might prompt Will to use some treasures, just one treasure. And Will is missing land drops. So honestly, if this Magus did stick, or does stick in the future, I think it might get Will like a, because he's just going to keep accumulating treasures here, and now he gets Expressive Iteration off of the Ragavan. Super huge for Will here. Most likely going to find a land. Yep, in the form of a basic island too. Pretty powerful. I think we did pick up another Teferi. Looks like we're just going to ending the Ragavan. This might get a Spell Pierce. If Will has one, I think he would cast Spell Pierce here. Will's just going to let that happen. And then I think Steven's just going to try to play the Teferi again. And make it that much harder for Will to kill his Magus. It's going to be Magus, okay. So Steven with 3 colors of mana, one of them being green, white, and 1 5-color. Will with 2 islands, 2 mountains, basically, and 2 treasures. So Shredder Do we see a Murktide come down here, pop both treasures, and get a 5/5 Murktide? That doesn't seem terrible. That would also proc the Ledger Shredder. See red for Unholy Heat on the Magus. Trigger Connive. It's going to pitch a land, so no counter goes on the bird. Will passing it back. Steven trying to resolve yet another spell in the form of a Fury, but it's going to be met by an Archmage's Charm this time. Will is out of treasures and just left with a bird in play. Taps the 4 lands. Iteration. I think we want to find Murktide here. Bauble is going to get this Shredder trigger.
Yeah, sounds like it's been about
So Will's going to come across for 1, putting Steven down to 9. Pretty lower than half. You start to worry a little bit with the 4-color deck. You do have stuff like Omnath and Solitude to gain life, but Steven doesn't have a lot of mana. He's kind of just been jamming a threat every turn, trying to draw Will out of cards and resources, but that's kind of all the Murktide deck does, is exchange cards 1 for 1 and get ahead of your opponent in some fashion on the board, and generally doesn't need too much mana to do that. We're going to ending the Shredder. End step, will consider. Still just trying to find a dragon. I believe Will is only on 2 Murktides tonight, so it might be a little difficult to try to find one of them.
yeah, these guys, these ones,
Red for DRC. 2 mana iteration. Yep. Will get to look at a maximum of 4 cards here. 1 off of the DRC. If it goes to the graveyard, we get to look at 3 fresh ones. 1 immediately to hand. Thinking about the 1 on exile. Steven is sporting a counterspell in his hand. DRC will go to exile. Delirium is active. Will drop another DRC. And ends up Steven will flash in an Icewing Koala. We're going to come across for 6. Really only 3 after Steven blocks with his Icewing Koala. Steven notably does not have 3 snow basics in play. So that is not going to be a trade with one of the DRCs, which will be pretty huge here. Shredder's going to trigger first. Go straight into graveyard. That's a Murktide. That will trigger. Yeah, Will really only losing to Solitude plus Ephemerate here, but having 3 mana up almost certainly shows that he has a counterspell in hand. With 4 cards, I believe. One of them most certainly is. Let's see, this is an Abundant Growth. I think we have Solitude, but no Ephemerate. I don't think Steven has a white card either. Yeah, he's just gonna pick it up, conserve some time. 38 minutes left on the clock. Still plenty of time to play 2 more games. Will's gonna take this game 1. Steven's gonna get a chance on the play, which is pretty big, as we were talking about the match before. I think that might. I don't think getting the endurance over the Magus mattered too much there. I think it would have given Steven an opportunity to play on Will's turn that would have made one of his spells resolve, rather than just trying to jam all of them in the face of counter spells. You just have to take those small windows where you can just jam a threat in. All right, so I think Steven, if he's on them, seeing the Ledger Shredders in multiples, I think would be a safe bet to bring in Supreme Verdict, like over something like Fury, whereas Fury is going to be more dead as time goes on, not even being able to fully kill a Shredder, as well as just being able to. The threat it poses is not large because of how easily it can be removed by either Unholy Heat or just Bolt. Um, and I think Ephemerate is an easy trim here too, so to make room for something like Veil of Summer. And I don't think you really want Chalice against Murktide. Chalice is just like, it's diverging you further from like your main plan, and it just counteracts on when you put Chalice on one, it counteracts like your game plan too. But it's really in the deck. Chalice is really only in the deck to hit stuff like the Cascade decks or maybe Amulet Titan. I think that's a little untested, but it's certainly good against Rhinos and Living End. And those are pretty popular decks. More Rhinos than Living End, but Living End does put up results, so I think it's safe to expect it out there. Notably, also did try bringing in Chalice against Hammer Time, and it really only mattered one game where I saw 2, and I put 1 on 0 and 1 on 1, and I still felt like my opponent could kill me. So I think Chalice really is only when it's meant to be put on 0 than anything else. And for Murktide, I think we can expect to see Jace and stuff like Dress Down, Subtlety, ways to get a clock early and still interact with your 4-color opponent. Looks like Steven has a few lands, a Ren and 6, a Teferi, I believe I saw. Yep, multiple Ren and 6 it looks like. So something like this on the play, I think is really where you want to be. Is just turn 2 Ren and 6, make them have Force Negation or Spell Pierce at the ready. And Steven's hand gets to do this multiple times, still have a few backup lands, even if the Ren doesn't resolve. But one of these 2 Rens should be resolving. And if not, this Teferi and Omnath will. Steven is on 1 main deck copy of Cavernous Souls too, which in this matchup could be very strong, as Will cannot really interact outside of something like Subtlety, which still lets the spell resolve. Will is shocking in the Steam vents early, maybe to represent the spell pierce, or it could just be a bluff consider. Yep. Looks like the red and 6 is down. And it's just a consider. All right. Stephen playing pretty fearlessly into that now, knowing that he has another red and 6 at the ready. But resolving this run is one of the ways to just run away with the game early for the 4-color deck. I think it just does exactly what you want it to do. It lets you draw non-lands and still be able to play a land drop every turn, as well as killing DRC, making it possible to kill Shredder and kills non-dash Ragavans. And speaking of dash Ragavans, here's one now. That will be going at Steven's face to get a trigger. And we'll take a land. That is exactly what you want Ragavan to hit if you are the opposing player. Well, but hopefully he will take care of this Ren. We'll see if Steven decides to play Teferi here or another Ren. I think I really want to play Teferi. I think you just play the planes that you just flashed him and then play Teferi. Then that sets up pretty well for next turn. You can have Ren hold up a potential counterspell you may draw, or any other 2-drop in the form of Iteration or Coatl. And Teferi is really only going to get got by Force Negation. If they got it, they got it. So I think you just slam it here. But Steven's just going to opt for a Ren plus a fetch land. Don't forget to activate your Ren. I think he's just going to pass and fetch, it looks like. All right, so backup Ren is up to 4. Will with just passing a land, playing a land and passing back. Got the link in the chat now for the Discord if anyone is interested in joining. Just a little place to talk about anyone watching the stream, or also gives notifications for when we go live, both on my personal time and here at Chupacabra Games, where we stream. I think we're going to start doing Monday and Tuesday. So Monday Modern and Tuesday Pioneer will be the days that you'll see us live. And then we also have EDH that considered starting to implement some sort of stream there. We have a casual day on Wednesday as well as a more competitive one on Friday. So Ren is still around, providing a decent amount of value for Steven. I think Teferi just gives you so much power over what you can resolve and when you can do it. Because if you just play an Omnath, even if it resolves, your opponent could have an Unholy Heat in response to the draw trigger, which makes it a little harder for you to actually do anything with the Omnath. And now I think it is pretty hard to resolve a Teferi. So Steven still having a land advantage thanks to this run is not nothing. Eventually, when Steven gets the double spell, that'll be pretty good against Will. Especially if Will cannot get more than 4 lands in play, but this deck usually finds ways to get lots of lands in play over time. As we see Will milling one now. As well as milling over a counterspell.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is there any reason for me to not just jump in? Hi, Brinker back.
The Brinker is back.
Well, I've always wondered about that. If it was okay for if there's nobody else back there with you, for someone to just come back and sit down, as long as you're aware that they're joining you. Just jump in.
Depends on who it is, of course, but
Yes.
for the most part, anyone is welcome. Steven with backup Omnath in hand too. Kind of nice.
I do like that art for Omnath. It is pretty cool. It looks much better than Gusher Hands. Or the like 6 variations of Gusher Hands.
Did Steven gain the 4 life? No, he shouldn't have. No, I don't think he did. I think he's been at 13, I think.
Okay, so he should have. Did he not? Did he play a land and not gain life when he should have?
No, I don't think he should. I was thinking for whatever reason I thought that was
We were kind of weren't paying attention for the last minute.
I thought that was a Hushbringer.
Oh, because it's a
not
dress down. Yeah, it's a dress down.
It's
So he
the,
didn't-
it's the
he-
white
yeah.
showcase version of dress down.
Yeah, the art direction version.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is probably why Fluffy has it up on the thing there. Yeah, that makes sense. I just
Yep.
noticed that's
Yep.
there.
It's big and in your face, but it happens.
Yeah, see,
you don't
but
always-
here we go. Now he's gonna gain. Now he's gonna gain.
Yeah, I'm guessing he
Unless
doesn't.
Will
have
just
much in him.
dress down again? Did Will just? No, I'm confused.
I don't think so.
Doing this in the east?
It would still be in play. Oh, this could be that instead? No, Will's a card in exile after the trigger.
I'm confused. Yeah, because you know what? It's like the players are having an issue. I'm gonna go Dolphins. I'm gonna go find out what's up.
All right, some technical issues with Twitch today and earlier today, so sorry about that to anyone just joining, but the stream is still up and live.
Whatever the issue was just on our end. It looks like after the stream being up. They were discussing live totals. They have
Oh, okay, okay.
they have them accurate to what we were expecting,
Cool, cool.
which is 15 all.
Yeah, I know Twitch has been a little finicky today with it cut out earlier, so
Yeah. No, I think maybe like I said previously in the future, you probably should like, or no, Flex said he can't do that anymore. He has like share screen in the calls that we're not having, so having less to worry about that Twitch being finicky.
right.
That might be a thing to consider if his computer is able to handle it. If it is,
I think so.
I mean, you have a gaming. Yours would definitely be able to, right?
Yeah, I need to bring that by if he's not gonna be here. Like I think tomorrow he is gonna be here though, so Pioneer should still be good off of that one. But
Okay.
But if he's ever not here, I can. We always have the backup. But
Yeah.
The same thing.
This is kind of starting to look like it's probably going to end up being. We're going to be going to a game 3, but I don't know if there's a deck in the format that can pull back into things. It's definitely Murktide.
yeah, I've seen Murktide come back from some pretty abysmal mold states that like even Will like when he was one of his like only losses in Swiss at the 5K was like against a Murktide player who would like double tighten out like multiple times, and the Murktide player still ended up getting there.
Wow.
So it's like Murktide can definitely claw back, especially with Shredder and DRC. Just you see so many cards.
The velocity that the deck can have is just wild.
Yeah.
Looks like Steven's firing off a Coatl here. Oh no, Eladamri's call. All right.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, 'cause that's a white source.
He's on 4 of those, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, it's a card. It does some stuff.
You could even get endurance and play it on unstep, which I think I really like.
Looks like that's what he's thinking. That will allow Will connive on both of his ledger setters, but I think it's
There, yeah.
But like if he pitches,
It's usually worth it.
yeah, like whatever he pitches, you're gonna catch with the endurance though. So like,
You just get to get 2 cards deeper though.
yeah, and like that's 2 shots at a counter spell.
Yeah.
And like if you're Steven, you're tapped out here.
Yeah, I mean you're probably okay with the
So there goes a spell pierce. He's getting a counter on the one. That's
or on both. Or no, it doesn't
No,
that one. Yeah.
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 Creatures with connive got bigger whenever you connived. It.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Holy cow. Yeah, and it resolves. So there goes all of that material Will had in his graveyard
I mean,
for potential Murktides.
He gets back though. It's like
Yeah, I mean it's still stuff.
seconds to see so many cards.
Yeah,
It's like,
he'll get to replay the card.
right. But for now,
Yes.
it does give Steven a window where he might be able to get in with a bunch of damage if he has a Solitude here. I think he keeps Fury in too, so
Yeah. Yeah, and like Will has to be able to double spell, and if all Steven does is just throw out a Fury, Will has to be able to double spell in order to get the smaller of the 2 out of range of it. And like he also has Steven also has Solitudes.
yeah, I just don't believe he has one in hand. It looks like we're just going straight to combat.
Yeah,
I-
that's interesting. It looks like his hands
Oh,
all
he
he does have a
he has
Fury.
the backup on. Does he have the Fury?
It looks like he does. He's gonna kill the one.
And then he's not gonna gain any mana or life off of the Omnath either. He might just play Omnath, try to resolve both that and Fury.
He has a Yori in his hand. I'm so confused. Looks like a
Oh, it is Yorion, yeah.
Yeah,
There's some
there's a-
red card at the end.
Yeah, there's a Yori and some red card in Omnath. And he has lands, so it's not like he can get all of the triggers. He can definitely put Will to 2 if he wants.
Sure.
Yeah, because like there's a fetch land. He has a base.
If everything, assuming everything resolves though, I think he just has. Yeah, Will's just gonna have counter spells.
Yeah. Yep, and Will countered it and Steven didn't have a response. So yeah, I don't think I gone in there with the at all, I guess, really. Could you just kind of, or I guess you can go in with the endurance and Will has to double block and then you can Fury to kill one of them, to kill the larger one,
Yeah.
right? That math checks out, I think. It's X5, the smaller one. Or the bigger one, I mean.
Uh,
Oh, pull the stream back up. I forgot to do that. Exited. Yeah. That still shows me the viewer. Probably not. I have 11 viewers on here.
oh, nice.
Yeah. So, oh, now it says 9. It must have been earlier. It was 11. Still says 7. All right, cool.
Works.
Gotta love.
I love Twitch sometimes.
Exactly.
Not gonna shit on them though. You know they're
No.
helping us out. Broadcast to all of you. So it looks like Steven opted for the Yorion, and I think he went Omnath Yorion. One of the Omnaths got countered, or the Omnath got countered, and this is his backup plan. Is playing Yorion.
Yep.
Blinking the Endurance.
Yeah, he's gonna reset the. How did that Jason? Oh, that got connived.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So Will has a 4/6.
I think Will with one card in hand might just want to pack it up though, and have as much time for game 3.
Yeah. What is going on here? Oh, he's endurancing himself. Alrighty. I actively dislike that. I would have.
Yeah, I don't know why
I would've-
would just get rid of the 3 cards.
Yeah, especially because they're all unique types.
Right.
And one of those is a type that's a bit harder for Will to get, because he's only on
Oh,
like 2
It's
Jace.
impossible. Yeah, it's like there's only 2 Jaces in the whole deck.
Yeah, like so. I think making that second Jace go away is or that not second Jace, but that Jace there go away is worth way more. Because like now, if Will plays a thingy, and now if Will plays a DRC or a Heat, all of a sudden
Yeah,
it just
That just
roasts the
seems.
Yorion.
It seems like you had the answer with the Endurance, and you just chose not to do it.
Yeah, that was
Now this
Now
game
you're-
looks pretty winnable.
yeah. This is
This is
I
a
mean-
completely different game.
yeah. That's the thing. Like we were saying, they can claw back in. You give them just like an inch of room. You stumble or you make one mistake like that, and you're just all of a sudden in the dirt.
Yeah, you really hate to see it. I feel like this game was very winnable
Yeah, I think
from Steven's side of things, but just that one misplay really of just targeting
yeah,
Will
targeting himself.
or not targeting Will. Yeah.
Yeah, and then also, well, I guess he gets to attack for 3 here, and Will is down to 3. If Steven had held on to that Omnath and hadn't given it up randomly, he wouldn't have gotten in with the endurance. Oh, man, this is so complicated. Okay, and now the Ledger Shredder's gone, so like, I mean, that's the power of prismatic ending, I guess. But like the
Get to dash in with a monkey too.
Yeah.
Probably hit Omnath or something off the top.
Yeah, well, if it's Omnath, at least he can't cast it, right? Otawara, all right, so he gets nothing. That's cool. And like the amount of mana is irrelevant, right? Because he just has so much of it.
He's got a.
They both have so much, yeah.
I think
he can,
that's
he
the
can
last
cast
card.
them.
It's the last card for Will too. Is just the Ragavan.
Yes, yeah, it looks like it is.
So Steven can just
Steven
kill this. I
have
think he
a-
drew iteration.
Yeah. He keeps flicking through his cards so fast, it's hard to see. I can definitely
Yeah.
see lands in there.
Yeah, Nico and I were talking about that too. He's fastest shuffler in the West.
Yeah, I don't know about shuffler, but definitely card
Hand
flicker.
shuffler.
Yeah,
I believe Delirium is active.
it is definitely active. He has, unless I'm mistaken, he has 5 card types now. Because he has. Oh no, because the creature went to exile, so I think he has only 4.
Okay.
But it is.
Yet again, we see that's where
Yeah.
that's a problem of not endurancing Will.
Yep. Yeah, I mean the Yorion would still be in play.
Yeah, and the game would just be over, and they would have more time for game 3. I feel like Will. I guess Will is banking on the fact that Steven will just misplay enough to where he can squeak this game out.
Yeah. Although Stevens just put a pretty sizable clock on him with that Renin 6, because Will has like no way to gain life. Iteration life finds a way, I guess. But like that with Will not really having a way to gain life, that Renin 6 is gonna probably be a big problem because it's if he doesn't find an answer to it, it's definitely gonna kill him in a couple times. So he might have to dash Ragavan at it here to make sure that doesn't happen. But that depends on what he finds off of all of this stuff. And there's also the chance that he could hit an Omnath if he goes at Steven's face, and that could gain him 4 life when he plays that polluted Delta.
Right.
Where is it going? Looks like we're going at Steven's face here. So
Will is at 2 and Ren is at 2.
lightning bolt that kills Renin 6. Wow.
And that's a bolt that's not going to kill Will.
Yeah, but Will still also needs a blocker though for the endurance.
Oh, he might have to hobble some burn spells to kill.
Oh, he's gonna dress down to draw a card. All right. He can always just go to 1 and let the. There's a Darcy that can block.
It sure can.
Does
Even
Steven?
for one turn.
Okay, I was like, is Steven not opting to, or not? Was Steven still not opting to cast the bolt at the Ren? Yeah, it gets one block in. Will needs to put the Ragavan back in his hand. Yeah. All right, cool. There we go. We got there. That delayed trigger does still go on the stack, regardless of whether or not Dress Down is in play. The only thing that Dress Down removes is Ragavan's text box and the haste. That is gone. Or is Steven holding him when it's still in play?
It might
Looks like Steven's holding him when it's still in play. Well, let's see if Steven untaps and what goes on here. I might run up to inform our players. Okay, go. I informed our players, and as I did, Steven found the win there. I didn't see what the card was. I assume it was Prismatic Ending or Lightning Bolt there.
Yeah, just a way to clear the blocker.
Yep.
So players are gonna go into game 3 with about 10 minutes left.
Yeah.
It'll be pretty tight. I haven't seen if Steven is capable of playing at the speed that this is needed, but you definitely can win on either side. You can just get there as the 4-color deck, or you can just more like
I don't know. I've definitely seen the 4-color control deck win very quickly. If it has the right hand, like if Will just like tosses a Ragavan or a Darcy out there and gets like maybe a bauble trigger or like a surveil trigger off the Darcy or whatever, and then Steven just slams ephemerates a Fury to try to put the pedal down.
right.
That
I think
it's kind of a wild move, but you can definitely get there.
It honestly doesn't even matter what it is that you kill them with. It's just the fact that both players need to be playing like optimally as well as like as fast as possible.
Yeah.
Because like there's like less than 7 minutes on the clock, round 1 of the 5K or the team event.
Yep.
And like I won on the second turn of turns. Like
Yeah.
it's possible. Like,
Yeah, if you're playing with intent, you don't tank too long, which is
I kept my opening hand, and it had lands and spells, and it's good enough.
yeah.
I ended up getting there with a Ren emblem that bolted my opponent 4 times. Yeah,
That's pretty great. You know, I mean,
I was at 1 life.
squeak out your wins,
Yeah.
however you can. Yeah.
But I think Steven just needs to not be doing this right now. There's just not enough time.
Yeah, and he's also a little slower when it comes to tanking on his turns, and
Yeah, I mean
That's
the
gonna
few
probably
seconds
be
every
too
turn
good.
does add up over the course of a match into like full minutes that you could have had. Like
yeah,
I think like 15 minutes a game is reasonable. That gives you like 5 minutes of sideboarding like this or shuffling. Some opponents really want to like make sure they shuffle every time, which is like kind of a thing. But I mean, it's
I think at larger tournaments it makes sense.
I tell
There are some
my
other
tell my
reasons why.
opponents at big tournaments I don't want to cut. It just takes too much time.
Oh, sure. In
It like
this particular
piloting the
case.
4-color deck.
Oh, if they're on the 4-color deck, you mean? Or-
No, regardless, like if they have a shortcut they want to do or something, I'll just allow it to happen.
Gotcha.
Just like make it up front,
Gotcha.
make it apparent up front.
I see.
Because if Steven had like 6 or 7 more minutes here, I'd say that's
part
pretty
of his
reasonable.
deck there. Alrighty, we
Yeah.
gotta shuffle.
Nope, we got it.
Okay. Yeah. If I mean the 4-color deck can win, but
I think the Murktide's already just more favored.
yes, just in general. I mean, so
Will on the play too.
yeah, it just favors Murktide more regardless, right? Unless Will happens to go, unless like Steven happens to.
I mean, Steven's keeping 4 lands of Rent-a-Fairy,
Okay.
so that's not good into Ragavan Pass, and that's exactly what Will is hoping for. Is
Yeah.
for Steven to have a hand like this. I think he has Eldamar's Call too. Maybe.
Yeah, I think he just picked up Eldamri's call there.
Um,
What Steven wanted to see here was an ending off the top so he could answer that Ragavan, but if this flips it to Fairy, that'd be pretty wild. Oh, it flips it Dogan's Veto. Okay, well, you know.
Interesting to see Veto too. I feel like that's like it's like Veil of Summer, Flister Storm, Mystical Dispute, and Force Indication, Dovin's Veto. Like those are all like options, but I feel like that's one of the worst ones is Dovin's Veto.
Yeah.
I feel like for the counter spells that you have access to, like Mystical Dispute's just 1 mana, which is why it's good. Dovin's Veto's like only good against Cascade decks.
Yeah, Cascade or in control mirrors. But like if you're not, you're already pretty heavily favored in most of those if they're not the literal mirror. So
Yeah, and even against Living, and they can just grief your Dovin's Veto.
yep.
Will come across for 2. Hidden Iteration.
Ooh, that's big.
Will already played land, or no, Will has not played land.
Played land.
Yeah.
No.
That's huge. Well, I think this is the second time Ragavan's hit iteration in this match too.
Yes. He didn't want. I assume he didn't want him to draw a hit.
Yeah.
But which is weird. Oh no, Will's telling this guy. I guess. I don't know what I do. I
Yeah.
Well, so like also if I'm Steven, like why did I not crack this fetch land after Will passed turn 2? That is something that I've noticed about how Steven plays. He seems to forget, I guess is the best way to put it. Fetch lands he has been playing. He has Eladamri's Call in his hand.
Yeah, he's not shortcutting though. This is what I'm talking about. Like he could have just said he's got an Eldamar's Call.
Yeah.
Alright, Brinker's been called off, but we do have another 4-color control pilot. Reed
Equally bad as Steven.
equally bad, he says. So maybe not the best advice coming from today, but
Yeah.
we can just see some good Murktide playing. That's for sure. In the hands of Will.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like if you're 5 minutes, you kind of just have to run into counters. But
He's almost looks like he's playing for the draw at this point.
I mean, that makes sense.
But I think Will could just get there.
Yeah.
How easily can get.
I think the pressure is too great. I don't think he's gonna survive to the draw.
Yeah, I mean Steven's already at 13.
And he's just shocking now down to 11.
Now I put you at 6. It's
Slam
doesn't
Ren
make any
repping
sense to my.
Elpiers. Yeah, why did we not do this last turn if we were just gonna run that into a
I think you had to.
we were just gonna run that into a naked that. Yeah, I think this is gonna shake out in Will's favor here, I expect.
Yes, after hitting the Solitude too.
Oh god, yeah. I don't expect Will's gonna cast that Solitude, although I don't know, I could see it just to get an extra thing in play as a clock or more clock.
It's an option, yeah. I think holding up counterspell is infinitely better though.
Yeah, it insulates you against anything your opponent could have. I know Steven does run Supreme Verdict, or at least he was the other day.
In the sideboard,
Yeah,
yeah.
he is.
One is just not enough.
No,
You'll never see it.
80 card deck?
I mean, you'll see it, but like it's like 1 in every 20 games, like 1 every 35 games. Like
Yeah, it is not good math.
Steve's pretty dead.
Uh,
He calling again?
I
Why
just-
don't you just play Endurance?
I would assume we're calling for
Does he have another land?
it was this is the main phase call? This is
Yeah.
an end step call, right?
Main
This
phase.
is a main phase call?
Yeah.
There must be tutoring up like you have to know that he's holding up a grip of counter magic. He has done nothing else and is just beating you with a attack.
yeah, the Regavit is just taking control though. Solitude pitch to Fairy.
And there's the obvious counter magic.
Kind of.
Jeez.
That's a giga room.
I feel like Will should. I guess Steven has 2 mana up still, but if you hardcast the subtlety there, you get a much faster clock.
Yeah. 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 Just that's not.
Oh, we did that.
He put it on top with the from the subtlety, so that way Will would take it. I don't like that.
I don't think Will takes it though. That's what he's
With the
thinking.
Ragavan.
No, he's just probably
He no, Will just cracked him again with a Ragavan, and he
He
got
got another solitude
off the Ragavan.
No, he
another
he
subtlety. So that's why he pitched for it. He just had a backup.
Subtlety the solitude up there top first time when he cast.
Oh, well, so
Put it
Steven
back.
makes the decision. Steven put it on top,
Yeah.
and then Will hit him, and he
Yeah.
took the subtlety.
Yeah.
Actually, the solitude again. So and now Steven's at 2, and lightning bolt kills him, and he loses the Omnath. I don't know
Wow,
why
some
he
crazy hits off of this Ragavan,
wouldn't
honestly.
just put it on the
Oh, he's
bottom.
going
Well,
to that.
2 of these were set up by Steven.
sure,
putting
sure.
them on top.
I mean, it doesn't really matter.
No, I mean he's kind of. I think he's dead here no matter what. You need double removal spell, and he just doesn't.
Will doing a pretty good job of playing quickly, though. I mean, he got this game done really fast.
Yep.
Like 6 minutes, 5
I
minutes.
think less than 5, yeah.
Yeah, I
Goes
think
to
they
show.
started around 7.
Yeah.
Will is not bad at magic.
Confirmed, yeah.
Yeah, it turns out somebody who won an energy 5K, even when he's not playing that same deck, is still pretty good.
Yep, yeah, Will knows what to do with the cards.
Yep.
Alright, so that's going to wrap up round number 4, the last round of the Monday Modern Tournament. And will take home today's prize.
Darn. If they had drawn there, I would have been in first place. Sadness.
Brinker's Salty had a chance, but he should take second here.
Will's very good.
So,
4 color players. Need for speed.
yeah, Will with the need for speed, as our table director shows. He's always got the best puns. But yeah, we'll probably see you guys tomorrow. We'll be streaming some Pioneer here over at Chupacabra Games. So thanks everyone for watching. Give a shout out to Will for winning tonight. We might get him on the booth talking in a little bit here. We'll see. I know it's kind of late here, so people might be trying to get out early. But if we do that, we will hop back on momentarily. But for now, it sounds like we're gonna be signing off. Until next time. All right, so we do have our local winner, Will Kowalczyk here. I know you were trying a couple new things in your Murktide build today. You want to talk about any of that?
Yeah, so I took out. I'm doing something similar to what Menguchi's doing. I know he's been really big on the Murktide with Ledger Shredder. Few less Murktides, and I agree. I don't want as many Murktides if I want more Ledger Shredders. Just diversifying my threats. Still staying super threat dense. I don't really care about losing early threats to like a prismatic ending as much. But and my Murktide being the most devoted to the exiling my entire graveyard threat. I don't want as many of those just to make it so if inevitably they get solitude, I don't care as much because I'm not going to flood out on that.
Yeah, I think we even saw you discard a Murktide to a Ledger Shredder with only 2 in your deck, so
Yeah.
they're definitely not essential to winning the game by any means.
The way I'm playing right now is just going to be not as explosive, not gonna be able to slam 16 power on the board in one turn or 8 power in one turn, but I'll be able to grind out more, I think.
Yeah, I think Murktide can grind pretty hard too. We've seen over at these energies as well as here too. You can. We were saying in the second game of this last round that you still had a pretty large chance of winning that game.
Yeah.
Even when we saw Steven target himself with an endurance, I think that really opened up a window where Murktide can kind of sneak in there, get some wins.
Yeah, especially I don't know how correct it is. Something I've been testing out here and there. I'm trying out. Usually I'm on 2 Murktide main board against 4 color. Game 2 and 3, I'll just side them out because I don't want to worry about the potential them being dead cards in the hand.
Yeah, I think that's pretty smart. 7 mana 3/3 is not as good as a 2 mana 8/8.
Yep.
All right, man. Unless you have anything else to end, I think we're gonna wrap up tonight's stream.
That's pretty much it.
All right, we'll see you guys next time.